Hello and welcome back to the show you didn't ask for, Ryan's Rundown. I am your host, Ryan. Today we're going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 13, Episode 9, The Snatch Game. So it's been a little while. Last week we had that little COVID special documentary and I don't know, I was chill with that. I love little behind the scenes type of things. I like looking into and knowing how production works, so that was kind of cool. I don't know why everybody's lips were orange in it. Whoever did the color correcting for that needs to be fired. This is my weekly disclaimer. I'm not a drag artist. I've never done drag. If anybody wants to put me up into drag, please let me know. I would love to do so. I just really love the show. I love the art of drag, love supporting it, and I just love talking about it. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, and with that, let's get into it. So last week we saw Simone and Candy Muse duel it out in the Lip Sync for Your Life. Simone was granted the winner and Candy was told to sashay away and she thought she was going to be packing her bags, but RuPaul goes on to bring Candy back. So technically it wasn't a double Shantae, but it wasn't, because Candy technically was told to sashay away, but who cares about technicalities? So as always, we're going to be talking about some storylines that I picked up on at the beginning of the episode and kind of rode through. So the first storyline I kind of picked up on, I kind of mentioned this last time, that now that Tamisha and Lala are gone, Candy and Tina seem to be kind of dueling it out in the confessionals to kind of see who is going to be the next narrator of the remainder of the season. I think it's leaning a little bit more towards Candy just because she gets so much confessional time, and it's probably because she gives really good confessionals, really funny and just very candid, not filtered. But I think Tina is also kind of coming up at the tail end, and she also gives really good confessionals, funny commentary, whatnot. And speaking of commentary, I think right behind them as the commentators, I don't know if that's a word, but we're gonna call it a word, the commentators of the season, I think are Mick and Rose, because I've noticed they always seem to cut to Mick, and Mick always has something to say, but it's not necessarily telling the story of the episode, if that makes sense. Same with Rose. Rose has really funny snippy or shady remarks that she makes about different contestants, but they're always in good fun. Oh, so the next storyline is this emphasis on this Olivia Lux versus Utica kind of discourse that we see throughout the entire episode, kind of. So we see it, so we kind of get this evolution of Utica and Olivia. They're both kind of being painted as these very polite, very sweet queens, and then they're paired together in the disco challenge a couple weeks ago. Olivia is encouraging Utica to say her shady things, when she had a comment about Tina and all this kind of stuff. There's kind of this misdirect that these are going to be the exact bottom two of this week, because as we'll see later on in the episode, Utica is called out by Olivia for saying one thing about her Snatch Game performance to her and to her face, and another thing behind her back. So Utica's being kind of called out as being possibly a little two-faced, and so there's kind of a little tiff there. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes, if it goes anywhere. And now we're going on to Snatch Game. This is really a monumental episode in every single season of Drag Race. It's everybody's favorite episode to watch. It's always iconic in either a good or a bad way. I think Denali said it in her confessional that this is really the challenge that separates the front runners from everybody else, and I think that is definitely true in this Snatch Game. So our guest players are Victoria Porkchop Parker, who is famously the very first queen to ever be eliminated from Drag Race on season 1, and we have Raven, who, as Alexis P. Bevels from the IMHO show on YouTube would say, entering the chat in dark mode between this and her appearance on Drag Race UK season 2 last week. Yeah, there's just a lot going on there. And we have the following Snatch Game characters. We've got Simone as Harriet Tubman, which I thought this was so funny. This is jumping ahead, but I really thought that Simone was going to be in the top. I found this Snatch Game character so funny when she literally like popped up at the beginning. Oh my god, it was hilarious. Like, Simone is really good. Like, I guess I would have never expected her to be able to just like improv and spitball like that, like banter back and forth so easily, which is like so cool. And the fact that she did the Nicki Minaj like To Freedom, I love it. I loved it. We've got Mick as Paris Hilton. I will say this now, this is, as somebody who has seen every season of Drag Race multiple times, I think Gottmik's Paris Hilton is going to be one of my favorite Snatch Games ever. I could not stop laughing the entire time. I absolutely loved it. I have no negative things to say about it. We have Rose as Mary Queen of Scots, which is this, it's a great choice. It is such a smart choice. I really love when they do like historical characters. Like, the first thing I think of is like Ben de la Creme's Maggie Smith from season 6, and like that just like, it just goes, especially if it's somebody like from way back in history and you bring it into the modern times. It will almost always go well. And it's just like, again, kind of like Rose was saying in her confessional, it's just very a smart choice. And the fact that she could like use like the Scottish accent to her advantage but still make it funny was great. We have Tina Burner as Richard Simmons. I've heard that Tina is a very funny queen, but I'm almost wondering if she is just more of like a natural like host who can just kind of like say like dry, sarcastic kind of like humor, show her humor through other things that maybe isn't character impressions. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. Okay, Candy Muse as Patrick Star. I found Patrick Star to be an interesting choice. There's nothing, I don't really know too much about Patrick Star. I just don't think Patrick Star is funny. Like, I don't really know how you can make Patrick Star funny. It was kind of very similar to like how Pheromone in season 9 played Gigi Gorgeous. I don't know how you can make influencers funny, but I mean, I think Candy infused enough of her own personality into the character that it kind of worked out in her favor. Speaking of making influencers funny, we have Olivia Lux as Tabitha Brown. Again, another very interesting choice. Very just like odd choices in my opinion. It was bad. That's all I have to say. It was bad. 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 We have Denali playing Jonathan Van Ness. Great choice. Denali did so much better in this challenge than I was going to give her credit for. I really thought that she would not do well with this, especially giving, now that I'm seeing that she did give a misdirect in her Meet the Queens video where she said she was afraid for the Snatch Game. Which the thing is, now they shoot the promos after the season has been shot, so giving a misdirect there. Okay, Elliot as Rue McClanahan. Picking Rue McClanahan from the Golden Girls, like, it's been done before. It was just done on Drag Race UK season 1. Didn't go very well for Crystal. Literally just like totally bombed at Rue McClanahan. So I don't know why people continue to do the Golden Girls. No saving grace, just really bad, really bland. Like, nothing to it. And Utica as Bob Ross. Utica was the captain, the owner of the struggle bus. The owner. So my personal top picks from Snatch Game were Simone, Gottmik, and Rose. They were the ones that had me laughing the entire time. And I definitely think, like, if it was like a top 4, I think I would put Denali up there too. It's time for the main stage. So the category on the runway is fascinating fascinators, and I'll be honest, I really do not care for fascinators in fashion. I think they're kind of weird. They like always remind me of the British royalty and like Philip Tracy. You know, I'm just not a huge fan of fascinators, so I don't know, this is kind of a, just really comparing the runway themes to from season 13 to Drag Race UK. Like, they're literally 2 different worlds. So my personal picks for the runway are Simone. Absolutely loved this. When she walked out and we just saw the front of the garment, she looked amazing. I love the white on her skin. She looked, oh, incredible. And like the slight divot out at the hip, creating a very like sharp hip. It was just like so good. And then when she turned around, absolutely, she is drag excellence 100%. Please go look at her Instagram, go look at her video that she posted for this look. Incredible. Simone is just absolutely dominating the runway every single week. So my next pick for the runway is Olivia Lux, and I literally like gushed about how much I love Olivia Lux the last episode. I think she just like always looks really polished and really nice on the runway, and she's got a beautiful face. But her like mad scientist, mercury spill type of fascinator look. Oh, I really want this like white coat and these boots. I loved it. And then my final pick for my top runway is Rosé, dressed as a rose. Again, I just gush over Rosé every single week. I just think she is like a really good combination of camp and also like fashion, but lean more towards camp, but like camp but make it fashion. Very that. I don't know, I just really liked it, and like the details of putting like the little spikes on the gloves and around the belt to like signify thorns, I thought was a really good touch, and I think she looked absolutely beautiful. Hi everybody, it's not a Ryan's rundown video without editing Ryann coming in, isn't it? I totally forgot that I was going to say when I was talking about the runways this week that I saw on Instagram that Lala Ree had posted what she was going to wear for the Fascinators runway, and she literally had almost an identical outfit to Rosé, but Lala's was in red. Can't believe how similar they are, and like season 13 really is the season of let's all bring the same exact outfits. My honorable mention for the runway is actually going to go to Denali. Now I know that Denali's, some people read as a little costumey. I loved it. I love the fact that she was skating down the runway. It was giving me a very human version of Bitch Puddin's alien waitress from Dragula season 2, which I absolutely loved. So the actual top 3 of this week are Rosé, Denali, and Gottmik, while our bottom 3 are Olivia, Utica, and Elliott. Now we go through all of the judges' critiques, and we find out that Gottmik is the winner of this season's Snatch Game, which I think is 100% well deserved. Her Paris Hilton was so spot on, it was kind of scary. We get down to the lip sync for your life, and it is Elliott versus Utica, lip syncing to Fascinated by Company B. Again, this is the season of lip sync songs that I've never heard of. Now, I'm not biased here, but Utica really ate up this lip sync. Like, she really did that. Like, I don't know what got into her. She really did that. She was the rightful winner of this lip sync. And with that, Utica has sent Miss 2T's packing back to Las Vegas. See you at the reunion, Elliott. And that brings us into my Untucked Moment of the week. And I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but my Untucked Moment of the week is the kind of breaking of the fourth wall when some of the queens begin to call out Utica for potentially being a little two-faced, being one way on camera and another way when the cameras are down. This was kind of insinuated by Olivia, and then kind of Rosé comes in at the tail end and kind of emphasizes the fact and tells a story about how at a prior dinner Utica had just pulled out a binder of her unused reads for the reading challenges and started just kind of like spitballing them out, and like kind of it almost felt like throwing insults, Rosé said, and it was totally uncalled for. So it's just very interesting to see this kind of, not a total turn on Utica, but like it was just really interesting to see like the girls kind of calling Utica out and then like Utica trying to save face, because I also noticed during the Meet the Queens, a lot of queens said that Utica was shady, and that was very interesting to see how that would or might play out during the season, and now we know that is exactly what happened. I'm almost getting the vibe that like Utica is not necessarily this like kooky, like Katya-esque character that she was either painted to be in the beginning or she kind of put on in the beginning, because I wonder if it could potentially cost her a spot in the running for Miss Congeniality. So that's something to kind of like look at. So as a surprise to nobody, my top 4 predictions is still Simone, Rosé, Gottmik, and Candy. And I think of that top 4, I think it will either be, it's going to be between Simone or Gottmik. At this moment, I think those are the 2 to beat, and I don't think it's going to change. And I also think that Candy and Rosé would be great. Looking towards the future, they would be great contestants on an All-Stars season. Miss Congeniality is 100% going to be Miss LaLaRie. Like, I will continue to say that to the end of time. And my next to go, I don't know. At this point, I guess my next to go would probably be Utica. I don't know at this point. Like, she's kind of the next like clear person to go home for me. I'm wondering if next week is this like makeshift makeover challenge. Like, all we really got was that they are being paired up and they have to put each other in drag. And so I guess it would all come down to whether or not they're going to be judged as teams or individuals, because that obviously makes a big difference. If it is this kind of like makeover challenge type of situation, I don't know how well Utica would do painting someone else, especially if she is paired with Simone. I don't know how that will go. I just remember seeing Tina and Rosé paired together, and I think that's where we're coming around to from the first episode, where Rosé found out that Tina Burner was there and she said, "I like Tina, I don't think Tina likes me." And then you fast forward to last week's musical episode, Tina voted for Denali the audition just to mess with Rosé, and so now we're coming full circle, and so hopefully we're getting a little like Tina Rosé storyline moment. And that was another episode of Ryan's Rundown. I hope you enjoyed. I really love making these. I know like this kind of stuff is not everybody's cup of tea, but I hope I can bring some like enjoyment and like light to your day, because I think we all kind of need that nowadays. I'll see y'all next week. I'm gonna go watch some Real Housewives, and yeah, I really need like an outro or something, because this ain't it.